morning, folks. This is Aunt Beth. Welcome to my lamppost, and I'm freezing. Today is the 21st of January, 2025, and I believe the Lord woke me up the morning of the 20th, which was President Trump's inauguration here in the United States, with a comment, a warning to me that I thought I would pass along to you. Please evaluate and see what you think. But he basically said to not let down my guard, that in the sense of being watchful in prayer for this country, that it was a different kind of danger and a rough road. And he started going into developing that idea, and I asked him for an example from the Bible, and he took me to 1 Samuel, where there was, I think it's in chapter 3, 1 Samuel chapters 2 and 3. So basically, at this point in time, there wasn't a king in Israel. And they had basically the high priest, and his was a hereditary position to some extent. The families that were managing the temple, and that had all of its resources. You know, if you needed help, you went to the temple, and they provided help. And so anyway. But the system had gotten very corrupt. And the sons of the high priest were taking advantage of the women and using them sexually, but also taking the resources for themselves. Totally outside of the provisions that God had specified. So there was known corruption, known sexual abuse. It's a very corrupt system, and the people were very upset, but what can they do? It's the system, and and they're trying to work through the system and respect the system. So in the middle of all of this, God raises up a young man by the name of Samuel that's actually was born outside the system, been a part of the, nurtured to some extent and trained by this corrupt system, Eli and his sons, and then leaves the system, and God establishes him as righteous, and he speaks truth, however painful it is, and all of the people recognize it. But during this time, the corrupt system, they had been warned. They had been warned. Both, directly to the sons, directly to the high priest, the guy in charge. The young Samuel spoke to the high priest. The high priest later on spoke to his sons, but they wouldn't behave. So Samuel moves out of the system, and the corrupt system is still going on. It's upsetting the people tremendously. God establishes Samuel, and all of Israel knows he's speaking the truth. And then the caca hits the fan. Okay. And Eli and his sons all die on the same day. They'd been waving around their inheritance as some sort of magic word to protect them, the Ark of the Covenant, the presence of God, They felt that they could game the system and use it to their advantage, their inheritance. And that they, no matter what happened, they were going to be fine. They were actually using the Lord. Well, the Lord will not be used. The Lord will not be gamed. And God dealt with the situation, not the way that they wanted, but in that day, the entire corrupt family was wiped out. You say, what about the inheritance of the Lord, the Ark of the Covenant, the presence of God? Well, God took care of that. He took care of it himself. Okay. He can take care of himself. But he won't be used and he won't be gamed. And I'm like, Lord, why did you let that corruption go on for so long? And it's the mercy and grace of God. But I believe one of the things that the Lord spoke to me is that he didn't intervene until there was a righteous infrastructure that could support the people. Okay? That there was somebody with truth and somebody who was raised up. He also raised up a righteous priest to take over the religious duties. So I think in the parallel, which I hope you're tracking with me, there's a parallel here. The people have been upset about the corruption for a long time. And the political leaders have been warned. But God has raised up, or is in the process of raising up, a righteous system, infrastructure, and he will deal with the corrupt people, both in the church and in the political system, and we are seeing this now in the church. So this is not the time for us to sit back and say, oh, okay, a changing of the guard politically, we can go back to, whatever. No, this is a time, I think, where the Lord is switching focus in the sense of to really clean house. There's going to be a rough road ahead. And we need to focus differently. Our prayers for the country, that truth would be revealed and righteousness restored, in the sense of people that have a sense of integrity and rooting out these issues, okay. But it wasn't until there was a righteous infrastructure in place in Samuel that they were attacked. There was war with their enemies. It was a rough road. God got them through it. And we're not going to be able to do what's ahead of us by our own strength. Okay? We can't wave around our inheritance as if it's some sort of magic shield, a silver bullet that's going to protect us. No. The only thing that's going to protect us is a return of our own hearts to righteousness. So, it's not good times are here again, per se. It's just maybe a little bit easier to do our jobs because there's some sunlight. So I believe the word of the Lord to me, as far as what to expect in the days forward, is that we've got a rough road ahead of us. But it's all good. So I hope this encourages you. Have a fabulous day. All God's best.